Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today on this special Labor Day edition of the Rundown. My name is Craig DeLuz. I am from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Mike Piwowarski. I come to you live from the East Coast, the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown 2A Views, conservative news. And again, as Craig said, a very special Labor Day edition. Why are we doing this holiday show today? Because when we don't show up on when we don't show up on St. Patrick's Day, you'll know why. We'll be gone. Won't be here that day.
Nope.
Okay. Don't care if it's not a real holiday. Not going to be here.
Nope.
Not going to be here.
Most definitely
In fact,
not. Most definitely not. So
in about 2.5 weeks when Oktoberfest starts, it's going to be hard to see me here too, as well. So,
most definitely so. Most definitely so. How is your weekend gone thus far?
I'm trying to recall what I did this weekend, and I'm having difficulty. Not because of anything that clouded my judgment, just because I don't think I did anything different than I normally do. So it's just all kind of there together as one. So,
Nice.
Oh no, I went to a wedding. Man, I forgot all about that. I was out of town. I forgot all about that. Went to a wedding. Went to a friend's wedding.
Sounds like fun.
So
We had some friends and family over last night, and just kind of relaxed. Although I will say it's been part of the reason why we've been relaxing is because it's been over 100 since probably Thursday or Friday, and it will be over 100 all this week. Today, we're actually expecting a high somewhere between 113 and 117.
Any humidity?
No humidity.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it then. It doesn't count.
Oh, that whole dry heat thing.
Listen. When you get to in the hundreds and then you get your 95% humidity and it's not raining, by the way, the only thing that'll make the humidity go down is if it actually rained. Then we could talk. I tell people if they want to experience what that humidity is like to, walk into your bathroom, fully clothed, close the door, turn the shower on, turn the sink on as hot as they'll go, get the room good and steamy, and then walk into the shower fully clothed. That's what it feels like.
Wow. Well, I will tell you. So my son-in-law was in the Army National Guard, was doing training for about 2.5 weeks, and he was there in Florida. He was actually near Jacksonville, and that's pretty much what he said it was like.
Camp Land in Florida. Yep.
Yeah, he said pretty much it's. He said that between that and the mosquitoes, he's like, yeah, me no likey Florida.
It's camp landing. It's 50,000 acres, something like that. We say all the time it's 1 billion trees and not a spot of shade. They're these they call them scrub pine. They're these pine trees that grow, and you could sit right underneath the base of one and get shade on your face, but in 2 minutes it's moved. The sun's moved. You have to roll around on the ground and try and stay up with it. It's
like the sun is
horrible.
directly overhead all day.
Yeah, all day long. All day long. It's absolutely amazing. Now, the good part about there is there's no alligators. So that's the part of Florida with no alligators. So that's nice.
I mean, but what's Florida without the gators?
Georgia.
Okay, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
All right, so hey, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hey, let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. If you've got yourself an AR, odds are you probably already have one of their barrels. But now you can get your own for your own build. So check them out, hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you reach out to them with your cash donations. And then, of course, if you want some good combat gear, tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. All of these folks, they help us to bring the program to you. So do us a favor, go to them. Follow the link in the description to this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them and let them know that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. Also want to encourage you, however you like to partake of the program. If you're just sitting in front of your computer and maybe you want to listen to us on your phone or your podcast, or listen to us a podcast or watch us, there's a ton of different ways, whether it's watching us on OpsLens, watching us on YouTube, watching us on Facebook or Spotify. You can also listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. But however you check us out and encourage your friends to do the same.
Do it many times. Do it often.
Do it now. Okay. Let's get into today's stories, and we're going to start with a victory for the Second Amendment. You know that there is an attempt by this White House to redefine what a firearm is. They're going after firearm parts. Well, a judge in Texas has basically slapped down the ATF, or basically he's put in place or allowed to be put in place a temporary or partial injunction on their rulemaking, where basically they have taken a firearm and tried to redefine it. Specifically, as reported by the Firearms Policy Coalition, they say the final rule's definition of frame or receiver conflicts with the statute's plain meaning, wrote Federal District Court Judge Reed O'Connor in this order. The definition of firearm in the Gun Control Act does not cover all firearm parts. It covers specifically the frame or receiver of any such weapon that Congress defined as a firearm. Mike, this is a big deal, especially because they don't do these injunctions unless they believe that the plaintiff has a good chance of winning.
Correct. And you know what? I do want to take a little credit for this. Everybody I've been telling when this rule came into effect for months coming out, I said 2 weeks before the injunctions hit. And here we are, 2 weeks, by the way. This is, and you know who you have thanks for that? Former President Donald Trump and his numerous federal appointees he put on the bench. So that's again, for all you that say, oh, he did nothing for gun control. Here's what you got. This is a result of that right here. Yes, Craig, what I like about this the best is that you could see the influence of the Bruin decision on this. This judge clearly makes out in his first sentence, he says, the statute's plain meaning, right? As it said in Bruin, to use the plain text and historical references. So it says the plain meaning. And then he talks about the historical references with what went on in the Gun Control Act. He says, here it is. This is what it's been since 1968 and 86. It's been defined here. You don't get to redefine it. You don't get to reinterpret. And notice, folks, how this says it's ATF's rule. It's not the law. It's not U.S. code. It's not an ordinance. It's ATF's rule. They've got themselves an attorney, and they have their legal counsel, most agencies do, that's reinterpreting the way they want to, and then they're enforcing some memorandum somewhere by some lawyer. Could you imagine this? Imagine if your local sheriff came up to you and said, listen, Sheriff Billy Bob decided he doesn't like green shirts, so you get to go to school. You get to go to jail today because he doesn't like green shirts. And we got a memo from our lawyer that says that's a rule now.
Well, it's a rule because we now it's violating obscenity laws, and now we've redefined obscenity to include green shirts.
Yeah, or we've decided green is offensive.
Right.
So you're going to jail because green's offensive according to us now. That's what this turns out to. I'm sure the judge was also influenced by West Virginia versus the EPA from 3 months ago, which says that federal agencies don't get to reinterpret law. They are an executive branch. They are not the judicial branch. Remember, folks, executive enforces, judicial interprets, and legislative creates or writes the laws.
There you go. Quoting the Constitution. You must be you must be one of them ultra MAGA Trump Republicans.
I am. I'm going to
quoting the Constitution and stuff.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite the Constitution. That's another one. So, Craig, what this means is, again, this affects tactical machining. It's a it's a partial injunction.
Yeah.
So they are free to continue on with their business. They can't do any transfers to individuals or persons at this point, but they can continue manufacturing without the ATF bothering them. What's that mean? That means if you were to manufacture a receiver right now, an 80% receiver, and you had tools near it that could convert it to a gun or a full complete firearm, then you have to put a serial number on it. Well, this means they don't have to do that. That it's been sound substantial evidence that says, listen, we don't think this is going to be good. We want a little bit more information from you. They got to come back within 7 days. Then the feds get a chance to answer that. So we should have a wrap up on this. Note some more information next week, more information the week after that, and then have something wrapped up by the end of the month. Thanks to our wonderful friends at FPC. And like you said earlier, Craig, a partial injunction is usually a pretty good indicator of how it's going to turn out.
Oh yeah, just so you know, This is my 0% receiver that I got from 80%
Yes.
Arms, and
Yep. Right. This is
fighting
what
for
they're
our
saying,
rights right
folks.
there.
The judge also says in here that that which may become a receiver is not itself a receiver. That piece right there goes in a CNC machine. It gets milled down and becomes a billet receiver. You could stop it at the 80% mark, or you could go all the way through to the 100% mark. But they're saying what Craig has in his hands right now, if he has a screwdriver and a drill next to it, that because he has the tools with it, it's a receiver.
Yep.
And that's ridiculous.
I remember when I went into the legislature, they tried to do the same thing. It's called, the term was readily convertible. And I remember, because that's where I got that. I literally took it in and it was like, look, all I need to make this a firearm is a CNC machine and the directions on how to use it. So where on this block of aluminum would you like me to put the serial number?
Yes, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, but that's what happens when you have people who don't like firearms, who don't know firearms because they don't like firearms, and don't like people who like firearms. That's what happens when they're the ones that are making the rules and the law. That's when you wind up getting some of the stupidity that you see coming out of legislators these days.
Yep. There you go. You've got it.
All right, moving right along. We talked a lot on Friday about the president's Star Wars speech, where he seemed like the emperor, the evil emperor, ordering order. I don't know if it's 88 or 66. Mike said 88, and I've seen it online as 88. I've also seen it as 66, but the point being is that it looked like a scene out of every movie or show we've ever seen about the evil authoritarian dictator, whether it was The Man in the High Castle, the Star Wars, or V for Vendetta. It was just, or 84. It was just all bad. But yet, Mike, there's a guy who writes for the Atlanta, or at least he wrote an op-ed piece named David Frum. Don't exactly remember where dude is from, but I know the name. And he is trying to say, Mike, that Biden did this to lay a trap, right? His goal was to get Donald Trump involved in this election, because he's like, Republicans don't want Trump involved, because whatever happens, if Trump is involved, people will show up and vote against Donald Trump. I happen to believe that his philosophy, I happen to believe that his theory is poo-poo. But what do you think?
Yeah, he's definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's amazing what they'll write at this point. We've seen we watched the order execute order 66 or 88 the other day. So and I think we all sat back and just did the whole, what are you, is everybody seeing this? You seeing the optics on this? Are we seeing what he's saying? Are we listening to the spewing of lies and untruths that came from his mouth? Was just unbelievable. So that, of course, got a response from the Republican side and Donald Trump himself. Well, this author's trying to write that Donald Trump being involved in the political process is going to be the downfall of the conservatives, of the Republican Party. Again, like almost, if I write it enough and we lie about it enough, then people think it's true. When we know quite the opposite happened, Craig. We know that it got a response from Donald Trump at a rally, and more people came to see the rally, and he was there supporting the two candidates in Pennsylvania. And these two candidates in Pennsylvania, they didn't have to spend their own money on the rallies, Craig, because guess what? Donald Trump had these people show up. They showed up for him, and then these other people were there. He continues to spread the wealth of his popularity to his other candidates that he supports. What was it, 23-0? 23-0 here in the primaries? Tell me how him being there is hurting the conservatives in the Republican Party.
Actually 26-0.
26-0. Okay, gotcha.
Well, the thing is that, so their thing is saying, well, look, the best Republican candidates are not getting it. They're saying that, well, the Donald Trump Republicans are not the best Republicans. And I'm like, why? What makes you believe that? And then once again, it's nothing more than wishful thinking. It's, they don't want them to win. They don't want Republicans to win. And their thing is, people will show up and not vote for Republican who is supported by Donald Trump. And that simply is just not the case.
Yeah. This story is look, Trump tweeted again. Go hate him some more. Go hate him some more. And it's, they could try and do everything they can. And I'm sorry, he's still the center of the party, and the election's not, Republicans don't want the election to be about him. Oh, okay. Let's talk to those 26 people that just got primary wins. Let's see if they want to be involved with them.
Democrats want it to be about, they want to make it about Donald Trump because they can't make it about themselves, because if they make it about themselves, you've got inflation, you've got school shutdowns, closures that we now know hurt our kids and didn't help one little bit. You've got people being put out of business. You've got critical race theory. You've got kids being taught that there is no real gender in school. I mean, everything bad. Everything about them is bad. And the American people, it pulls negatively with the American people. So they can't possibly talk about anything other than Donald Trump. Because if we start talking about anything other than Donald Trump, they most definitely lose.
Yep. Yeah, this is another a disinformation campaign on their part. Everything they do is going to continue to bite them in the ass. Oh, let's raid Mar-a-Lago. That'll make people hate them more. Ah, were you kidding? You might as well be shooting cans of spinach at Popeye. It's ridiculous.
That is exactly the phraseology. I've had more than a few people comment that they love that one. They love that analogy. Shooting cans of spinach at Popeye. All right. Well, all right. This next one, it's kind of interesting that the insider is writing about this, because we've been talking for years. Republicans have been talking for years and have been really kind of split on the idea of a constitutional convention. And what the issue here is not so much, I think, where there's a split, isn't so much about the issue here in terms of what they're saying is they're saying that Republicans want to rewrite the Constitution. And it's more about the fact that we want to clarify certain parts of the Constitution, because clearly the people in the swamp, and I say this because it's not just Democrats, but Republicans as well, have sought to expand federal authority beyond what the founders ever intended. They have sought to expand executive authority far beyond whatever the founders actually intended. And now what they're saying in this particular piece here at Yahoo News, they're now basically saying, well, look, the Republicans want to rewrite the Constitution in order to take away some of the take some of the power away from the federal government. But that's actually not what they're saying. What they're saying is, they're afraid that once that power is taken back to the locals, that they're going to lose all of this stuff, all of these laws that they passed that they should have never had the right to pass. And that's pretty much where what a constitutional convention, or a clarification of the separation of powers between state and federal, and between the various branches of government. That's what that would do if done properly.
Yeah, Craig, do you recall when Hillary said we'll just get rid of the Second Amendment if that's how we have to do it? I'm sorry, what is that? Is that supporting the Constitution, or rewriting, or taking parts away from it because they don't like it? The Democrat Party has always been the party that tries to alter the Constitution and the law to make it fit what they want. Let's take a look at what they've authorized the ATF and the EPA to do, right? Oh, just go ahead and reinterpret what you want on your own and go ahead and do it. Don't worry about the higher laws. That's how they feel about the Constitution. They have no respect for it whatsoever. They're going to continue to do what they want. We see this over and over and over from them. Ma'am, you can't do that. Sir, you can't do that. It's illegal. Well, I'm going to vote that way, and we're going to create this ordinance, and then we'll just fight it in the courts. And then you're going to ignore it anyway. Look what's happening in New York after the Bruin decision. They don't have any respect at all for the law and for higher authority. The Constitution means nothing to them. Again, same as our early story, this is the spin to make the Republicans the big bad guys that are trying to take away the foundation of our country.
Right. And they're in complete and utter denial that they're the ones that are reinterpreting the Constitution. Because all I have to do is say, okay, where in the Constitution is the right to privacy? Show me the language.
Show me.
Where in the Constitution is the right to an abortion? Where in the Constitution is the right to is is the
Yeah.
right to a job or the right to. I mean, where exactly does this exist in the now? Now let's go back. Where does it say that there's a separation of powers and you are not allowed to? You and the executive are not allowed to write laws, right?
Right.
I can. No, there it is, right there. It's right there. Oh, wait, no. Where is that whole part about not infringing on the right the free exercise of religion? Where is that in the? Oh, wait, there it
Yeah.
is, right there.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Oh, what
Yep.
about that whole being able to keep and bear arms? Oh, wait, there it is, right there. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
every
Right.
time you talk to
Yeah.
Republicans, we're pointing to stuff that is right there in the Constitution,
Yeah.
and you talk to Democrats, and they're just making stuff up. But we're the
Yeah.
ones who don't believe in the Constitution.
It's obviously there's people out there like Alex the bartender, that AOC that doesn't read the Constitution, has not read the Constitution. She says the most idiotic things in the world. But I think for the most part, Democrats may have read it at least once, right? But they're really the feel there on the Hill is that we're going to do what we want. We don't care what it says. We don't. We're going to get our way at any and all costs. How many times you got to hear that? At any and all costs, they're going to get their way. They've said it over and over at the Second Amendment. We want to take all your guns,
Right.
all your guns. The lies started at first with, oh, just the evil ones, but it's all your guns now is what they want.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They're not even like hinting. Right. It's like you notice you don't hear people say anymore. We're not coming for your gun. Nobody's coming for your guns. You notice you don't hear them saying that anymore.
No, because they're coming for your guns. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that, by the way, takes me to this next piece that was also over at Emoland. And it's talking about arming the disarmers, right? And it's talking about how gun makers could take a stand and stop arming disarmers. And I got to tell you, I saw this piece and I kind of agreed with it. Now, one of the challenges I think we have is that those in the gun industry, they are, while they may believe in the Second Amendment, they are first and foremost, they are business owners. And so oftentimes they wind up taking positions and they wind up doing things that work against the Second Amendment in a way in which to promote or support or basically to be able to to be able to stay in business. And one of the things that would be really, 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 really nice to see, and I know some gun manufacturers have done this, they have refused to do business with governments that they refuse to do business or sell firearms to some governments that are anti-gun. If you are in a certain city or a certain county, and that county has demonstrated that they are anti-gun, they will not sell to that department.
Yeah, Craig, it's kind of a big deal. This has been a big part of the gun industry for a while, or kind of the the elephant in the room in the gun industry. Everybody wants to make money, but everybody also wants to stand up for their Second Amendment rights. This is not a mom pop dealer kind of issue. This is a manufacturer distributor issue. Let's say that. For example, the city of New York wanted to buy some high powered rifles, some 50 caliber rifles, and they went to Barrett Firearms. And Barrett Firearms said, can a citizen of your city or state buy these guns? No. Well, then we're not selling them to you. Serbu Firearms did the same, another firearm manufacturer down here in Florida that makes precision heavy caliber rifles. They said no, said we're not doing it. And a lot jumped on the bandwagon. There was a lot of small guys, a lot of medium guys, a couple of big guys jumped on and said, you know what, we agree with this principle. This is what we're going to do. So if you're like you are, Craig, a normal, average, everyday oppressed citizen in the state of California, and you want to buy an AR, you got to get one of them bastardized looking crazy things. So when the California Highway Patrol calls and says they want ARs, we say, sure, we'll sell you the California compliant version. No, we're law enforcement. We're exempt. Sorry, sir. Don't see that in the Constitution.
Nope.
And they take a stand. And then they have to spend extra money elsewhere. They have to run through hoops. They have to, buy from a California dealer that, gives a contract, whatever the reason is. But those are the dealers we then hit and say, why are you selling to the government that oppresses you? If you want to sell them firearms, you sell them the same firearms that are authorized to use by the citizens in that district. That's what you do. And that's the point you make. And I'm in the parts manufacturing and distribution business, and that's what I do as well. So when I saw this, I said, it's nice to see this out in the open. Yep. Because this has always been an elephant in the room kind of topic.
Well, and you look at some of these technologies, like I'm like, wait a minute. So if these firearms, for example, smart guns are the best example right now. So you have these smart guns that are now quote unquote available, and they want to start to try and force us citizens to purchase them as opposed to regular firearms. Well, okay, well then that should be all that law enforcement is allowed to carry.
Yes.
And the first thing that happens is law enforcement says, "Oh no. Well, wait a minute. I'm
Yeah.
like, if it's not safe enough for them, then it definitely ain't safe enough for us."
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I think, then the same thing applies too. Let's say you're in a state of California, right? Law enforcement should only have 10-round magazines. That's whatever your limit is there, Craig. All the rules should apply. If it applies to the citizen, it applies to the government.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So anyway, that once again, that is actually something that's very, very good to see that is taking place out there. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on
I have
to
a
our
feeling
party.
you and I are going to make a big issue of that one at SHOT Show with everybody we talk to.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So we talked about the speech, and we talked about kind of the visual, and the only thing that could have made the visual more ominous, well, was this, and I'll share this with you. This is exactly what I visioned, what I saw when I saw him up there speaking.
Yes.
This is the emperor of the galactic empire, standing there where where President Biden was standing, issuing Order 66, or 88. But the point being, this was the visual that you had. Look at that. Imagine even if it were just a normal one, the one with the president, right? And you've got the Marines there in the background. The blood. You've got the Independence Hall, a blood red. I just cannot imagine how anybody thought that was a good idea.
And listen, go back to that real quick, to point out, when this first started out, these were the silhouettes or the image of these Marines were two Marines in their dress blue uniform, right?
Yes.
In their ceremonial guard uniform. But as the red light came on and the lights focused on the president, they dimmed them out. They were no longer recognizable as these Marines back there. They were recognized as these dark figures,
right,
standing there in an ominous, pose behind, as if to say, "Don't do what I say," and Vito and Tony here, break your legs. That's the image you got from it. Yeah.
And we all know how that works. I mean, we all know what he's going for, because they keep talking about, and then they keep talking about, they keep doing time and time again, they keep working on infringing our rights. And they do so by flat out lying. Like, for example, the gun show loophole, right? They talk about, oh, well, there's this loophole where you can go to a gun show, you can reach into the loophole and pull out your automatic weapon that shoots 1 million bullets a second. Well, we have found, actually, within this administration, a loophole. And it's called the Biden loophole. That's kind of curious, though, man. I'm wondering where in these United States that picture might be taken.
That looks like it's more in Afghanistan, Craig. That's where the Biden loophole is.
But those look like American firearms. Those look like the firearms that we used to own.
Yeah, over 600,000 small arms left behind. That's M16s, M4s, M249s, that kind of stuff left behind there. 600,000 just armed them. Yeah.
Which is what's hilarious about this is that you have the last two presidents who were completely anti-gun, right? And yet you've now got the Biden loophole, and then you also had Fast and Furious. I'm like, they're both gun dealers.
Yeah, the last two Democrat presidents.
I'm sorry. Let me clarify. The last two Democrat presidents, you had one who basically gave away all of our firearms to terrorists there in Afghanistan, and then you had one who gave who sold firearms to the Mexican cartels.
Yep, that's it.
So
gun running.
Anyone else can own guns except those here in these United States. This next one is an example of not just good parenting, but good grandparenting. All right, you want to describe this one for our audience who is just listening?
Sure. It says, or or there's a woman here. She appears to be a grandmother, about a 12-year-old boy, 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy, and she's
About
sitting
that, yeah.
across the picnic table from him. She's sitting across the picnic table from him, and she's throwing a glass of water violently in his face, splashing the water in his face, and it says, "Grandma, I don't think anyone should be able to buy an assault rifle." And then she throws the water in his face, like, "Shut your damn mouth, boy," that kind of thing. So.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. I love to see good parenting, good grandparenting. He'll learn. Either that or he'll drown. One of the two.
That's it. That'll learn you.
That'll learn you. All right, Mike. Well, hey, as
Yep.
we get ready to take off and enjoy the final hours of our 3-day weekend, why don't you go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors?
Let's say hey to our good friends, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. You need a barrel for your rifle, for your build? Look them up. The California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. And of course, if you want some awesome tactical gear, get over to uscombatgear.com.
Thank you, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for visiting our sponsors and letting them know that we sent you. Just thank you for tuning in and encouraging your friends to tune in as well. We're going to call it a day, and we'll be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
Yum, yum, get in my belly.